Hello and welcome to this week's Emerge 5. Now in today's episode, we will be looking at the top 5 ways to tell that you're ready for cloud migration. And this video is made possible by an article by Scott Dodds, who's the CEO at Ultima. You can check out that full article down below. So almost half of organizations state that they lack staff with cloud experience, causing one of the main stumbling blocks of cloud adoption. For other organizations, the journey over to the cloud hasn't been smooth. A particular challenge cited in the Flexera 2021 State of the Cloud report was spiraling cloud costs due to an inability to forecast accurately. The effects of the pandemic have rapidly elevated the take-up of cloud services, but organizations across the board are still struggling to realize the benefits, migrate their legacy systems, and manage their clouds effectively. So, how can you be truly sure that you're ready for the cloud? Well, these 5 points should answer that question. At number 5, we'll start with productivity is limited by the speed of the network. We all know time is money, and every minute that your network isn't performing to its fullest, it's costing your company revenue and profit. It also costs the morale of your workers when they can't do their jobs properly. If you're dealing with an underperforming network, staff performance and collaboration, data gathering and customer engagement will all be negatively affected. By switching to a cloud-based infrastructure, you'll gain access to the latest technologies and create a more resilient infrastructure. Automation technologies also mean that these networks can be monitored and managed far more effectively. Thereby, this is creating efficiencies throughout the organizations as well as reducing costs. Number 4, disaster recovery plans may not be fit for purpose. 80% of businesses that are affected by a major incident either never reopen or they close within 18 months. We also know that 41% of businesses haven't tested their IT disaster recovery solution in the last 6 months or don't know if it has ever been tested. From an IT perspective, having your operations in the cloud negates some of the risks. Your cloud provider or managed service provider will have plans in place to mitigate any disaster and will regularly test the disaster recovery solution. As the disaster recovery solutions are built in the cloud, costs are significantly reduced compared to on-premise disaster recovery solutions, as you simply pay for the service that you use. Number 3, poor visibility of cyber hygiene and preparedness. 25% of companies don't realize that they have high severity patches missing. A poor patching regime can have catastrophic consequences on systems, personally identifiable information, and intellectual property. This is often down to a skill shortage and a lack of time, as patches are often done manually by the IT department. Automated cloud services give customers a dashboard that centralizes information to show what is happening in a simplified format across your infrastructure. Patching services can be automated and monitoring happens on a 24/7 basis. Not only will this save organizations hundreds of IT hours, but businesses who are using automated cloud services also have a 66% reduction in security incidents. Number 2, keeping the lights on in your business. 60 to 70% of most IT budgets is spent on keeping the lights on and renewing support contracts. When you factor in the time spent by IT staff in maintaining existing infrastructure and business operations, it's easy to see why this can cause a stumbling block. Given the world of hybrid working we have been launched into, any business today that isn't spending on development and innovation in business operating efficiencies will struggle. Outsourcing your IT to a cloud services provider who can manage it for you and who uses the latest automated services can save hundreds of man hours, freeing up your IT staff to focus on more strategic projects. And at number 1, we have reaching a peak in IT spending. There is an upward trend in IT spending that is set to continue, with Gartner predicting that worldwide spending on IT is set to hit $4.1 trillion in 2021. That's an increase of 8.4% since 2020. But for many organizations post-pandemic, finding the cash to keep up with IT needs will be hard. Using Microsoft Azure's open and flexible cloud computing platform, for example, combined with automated migration, you no longer need to look after and buy hardware or pay for your own data center requirements like power and cooling. Your IT infrastructure can be run on a pay-as-you-go basis, taking away any CapEx hardware costs, and you can even buy employee devices on the same pay-as-you-go basis. The short-term costs of moving to the cloud need to be weighed up carefully against the long-term savings and increases in efficiency and productivity. So there we go. That is a wrap on the top 5 tips for finding out if you're ready for cloud migration. Thank you again to Scott Dodds of Ultima for this great piece, and thank you for all of you who took the time to watch this episode. So we're going to be back next week, of course, with another top 5. In the meantime, please subscribe to this YouTube channel to stay up to date with all of the latest and greatest tech news and trends. And for the best daily content around, then you can head on over to em360tech.com.